Hello, guys.
Hello.
Welcome to this week's episode. This week, we're going to discuss a more advanced strategy for Weiss Schwarz. My name is Daniel,
My name is Mike.
and you can't see our face this week because we're going to show you some of the cards we're going to be using in the video, some of the deck building strategy, and how some of these strategy will affect the way you build your decks, and how will it strategize in terms of your gameplay, and how you're going to set up your win condition or set up your combo. So I think let's get to it.
Okay.
So the first thing I want to lead with, if you can see the way we have arranged our deck here, we have the Climax, which is over here, and Mike is putting us up here. We have your level zeros, your level ones, level 2, and your level 3. Okay, so let's start with Climax.
Okay.
All right, Climax, Mike. For Climax, I would consider it to be the most important piece of your puzzle,
For sure. Definitely.
because there's so many ways for you to use your Climax. The most basic thing to use your Climax for is to
Prevent damage.
right. You can prevent damage when your opponent attack into you,
Yeah.
or you would use it during your turn to increase stats your creature so that it would beat your opponent creature. You try to go in and reverse your opponent creature, or you boost the soul points to do a lot more damage to your opponent.
Yeah.
And then there's variation of this in the Climax. So when it comes to designing what Climax to put in your deck, you want to consider several things.
Of course. Yeah.
Of course, first thing is, does your deck need some boosts? Let's say that if your deck isn't an aggressive type deck, you're a more control type deck. Maybe you need to find a way to build stock. Instead of attacking every turn, you might not be attacking every turn, which kind of rare, but it's situational. And we'll set up the situation where why maybe it's not a good idea for you to attack that turn. But usually you attack, and you can certainly do a side attack so that you would gain stock anyway, because having stocks is good, because later on as you hit level 1, 2, or 3, you notice that these powerful cards always come with costs. And if you are it depends on how you design your deck. If your deck is going to be strong at level 1 or level 2 or level 3, you also want to bear in mind the amount of stock that's going to cost for you to be sustainable at that level, so that you can implement your gameplay accordingly, so that your deck function the way you want it to function.
Yeah.
And also your stock is there to also encore to save some of the important character, and we'll go through that. But let's come back to the Climax, Mike.
Yeah.
I feel that is so important because when I look at the Climax from the starter deck, they're pretty standard in terms of the amount of boost that they give you. So either they give you your character plus attack, or plus soul, or both.
Of course.
And then when you trigger, when the Climax is triggered, as in if it's triggered doing your opponent attack, it doesn't have much. It doesn't have those trigger effect.
Not too much.
Not too much.
The common one would be like having 2 more souls to hit them harder.
Yeah, like this one, for instance. This would be great when you're attacking.
Of course.
Yeah, because it gives you 2 souls 2 additional souls for you to do damage to your opponent.
Yeah.
But if you were to trigger it, there's no versatility, in my opinion, with this card. It promotes you to attack, and that essentially it. If you look at some other like Climax, for instance, with a different type of icon, when it trigger, it actually
returns a character from your waiting room back to you.
Right, and that's when we talk about setting up your combo. If your deck required some combo pieces to be searched for, or you need to find it, or you need to somehow get it onto your board, you might consider putting in some Climax, which allow you to help you. Like, for instance, for Mike here, he does have Climax that help him find characters from his waiting room. I also have Climax, which helps me draw cards and helps me return Climax in my waiting room to my hand when it triggers. Be especially aware of these Climaxes, because they're going to really help you a lot. Especially Climax gets triggered a lot. And Climax gets used a lot I think it's one of the most used card in the entire game, really. Yeah. But I do a simple calculation a little bit when I visualize my deck design. So in a 50 card deck, when you draw your hand, so in the beginning of the turn when you draw your hand, you're going to draw 5 cards, right? And let's say the worst case scenario happened. You mulligan all 5 cards, right? Then you draw another 5 cards. Okay. Then on your turn, you draw a card. You clock 1 card to draw 2 more cards.
Yeah.
So essentially, you almost halfway into your deck already on your first turn, right? Because that's almost 20 cards.
Yeah.
Now, when you draw into that many cards right in the beginning of your, like on your first turn, so the probability of you drawing into your climaxes, it's quite great.
Yeah.
You might draw into 2 or 3 of them. Okay, so that's something to consider. Also, as the game progresses on, when your opponent attack into you, you're going to be taking cards off your deck, and Climax. You can expect that Climax going to probably come up, maybe roughly about 4 to 5 cards.
Yeah.
If they distribute equally into your deck, which of course that usually doesn't happen. I mean, that's too perfect of a scenario. But also bear in mind that you have your hand. Your Climax could be in your hand. Your Climax could be in your stock. Your Climax could be in your clock, or already in the waiting room. So the best scenario, I would say, is that maybe you have about 4 Climaxes left in your deck for you to play with, or for you to draw into, or mitigating damage and all that. So selecting the right Climax to trigger or use is very important. I would say that.
Agree.
What about you, Mike? Is there any tips as far as Climax?
Well, as far as Climax, I mean, it depends. Like, another point with Climax is to see, like, is there any combo that work with those Climax? There's some that actually uses the Climax as like initial to do some certain combos. For example, for this one here, my level 1 character must use this Climax, the Eternal Idol, because for her, it's like if I play it from my hand into the waiting room, right? I pay 1, so this one has to go into the waiting room, and this will change into the level 2 character, which is in my waiting room, and into the position that this card was. So this is like one combo that works with the Climax and the character.
So this combo is especially powerful when you're at level 1. Now, you can always hard cast her at level 2. However, if you're able to pull this off when you're at level 1, and most likely your opponent's going to be at level 1 when you try to pull off this combo. And at level 1, usually the standard level 1 character power are at maybe 5,500 to about like 7,000. Now, having a character which comes in at 10,000 at level 1, it's really hard to stop.
Yeah, it's really overwhelming for.
Yeah, really overwhelming. And that's a lot of what Weiss Schwarz strategy is, having some change effect or having some combos to set up to bring out a really powerful creature early on.
Yeah.
And having that edge over your opponent, because once you establish board control, you don't have to rely on your climaxes as much.
Yeah, true.
Now, usually when you're at an equal level, so if you're at level 0 and I'm level 0, and our characters are similar in power, or actually at any level, if our character are similar in power, right? The only way you're going to be able to reverse my character is to play the climax. Give it a little bit of boost, and then reverse all my characters. That's pretty effective in number of ways, especially if your opponent doesn't have much cards left in their hand.
Yeah.
They might have to spend resource. They might have to spend their stock saving this character in order to prevent an oncoming damage.
Yeah.
Right. But it's situational, because I would also suggest that you don't save your character that often.
Yeah, especially the weak ones.
Yeah, because it's really resource heavy.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're spending 3 stocks, and you essentially, if you're not going to reverse your opponent character on your turn, you just wait. I think you just wasted a lot of cards.
True.
Okay. So Climax, in terms of it being in your deck, it's pretty standard. You only allow 8, no more, no less. So yeah, don't have to stress about it. You just have 8 Climaxes. Pretty standard.
Yep.
Okay. So let's move on. Let's talk about level 0.
Yeah.
Okay. To me, I feel that level 0 should be looked at as a long-term plan. Some people look at the card at face value. Look at the card power and grab the highest power, for instance, like something along a line of like a really high power card, which the game call it beaters, right?
Yeah.
They just have really high power, and then when they attack into your opponent, they're just gonna beat all your opponent's board. However, after your opponent have reached level 1 or later levels, they're going to have much stronger creature to deal with your level 0.
I agree.
Right. So to me, you when you use a high attack level 0 with no ability, right? I feel like that's just, it only works when you're level 0.
Yeah.
Now there's no long-term strategy behind it.
No.
For me, I prefer a level 0 which has some ability, or which have some use beyond level 0. If my opponent have reached level 1, 2, and 3, will my level 0 now clogs my hand?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, some of the level 0 you use to clock, or you use to
encore maybe.
Yeah, encore, clock, or use it as a level marker. But those are only maybe like 4 or 5 cards.
Yeah, mostly.
However, you're gonna have most level 0 in your deck anyway. Usually I run about 15 to 16 level 0.
That sounds a good number.
Yeah, because and that's almost half. That's like a third of your deck, which is level 0. Now, what I do is that I look for level 0s that are reverser. So let's go over about the reverser. Reverser are great because it doesn't matter what your opponent have. Maybe your opponent have a really powerful level 0 or some sort of a assist level 0, which maybe it's really hard for you to get rid of. So having some reverser allow you to do that, allow you to go in and trade with your opponent. It's still a 1-to-1 trade, but at least you don't have to wait till level 1, 2, or 3 to deal with that threat.
True.
So that's good about reverser. I also look for assist characters, because assist character, when it's on the board, you can have it on the board beyond level 0. You can use it. There's some use. There's some use of it when you're beyond level 0. So it's not. So at least it's not going to clog up your hand. It's not going to be a dead card in your hand once you level up. You can always use the level 0 throughout the entire match, even when you're at level 3. And that's the type of level 0 I'm looking for. Other type of level 0s are ones I can search. Right.
Like a brainstorm, for example. Or
what we mentioned is correct. A brainstorm level 0 is really good because it helps you to refresh your deck, especially when your deck is running low in cards and all your climaxes are out. A good strategy is to go ahead and brainstorm to refresh your deck, so that now you have a fresh deck with fresh climax shuffled into your deck. And maybe you have in the early game you have used level 2 and 3 to clock, or use it as your stocks. Now you get to refresh them, and now you get to use them. Now that you're in the right level to use them.
True.
Okay. What about you, Mike? Is there anything about level 0 you want to mention?
Well, beyond that, there's cards like this Pretty, for example. This one who can help you debuff the enemy, especially in the center stage, to like 1k, which is useful still, even throughout what level you are. This Pretty is not a dead card in my hand.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it supplement your climax a little bit, because if you don't have the climax to boost your character, at least you can put down the Pretty to debuff.
Like one big guy.
Yeah, and then you can step over it with your center stage guy. Which is really useful level 0.
It is quite useful level 0.
Yeah, I would highly recommend for you guys to look for these type of level 0 versus just like straight up beater level 0, which is going to be dead. I mean, as far as being a dead card in your hand at the later level.
Or either debuff or even a buff. Even this Pretty buff my other character just to, make him, tougher to whack the other guy out of the board.
Yeah, and buff is good, debuff is good. Surge is good. Reverser is good. Brainstorm is good.
Yeah, especially Brainstorm for level 0. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the level 1. To me, level 1 is used to set up as part of my setup. Grabbing, fishing for level 2 cards or level 3. Setting up for the combo or the type of game that I want to be playing when I reach level 2 or level 3. So it's to synergize with your climax and your level 0s.
All right.
Okay. What about you, Mike? How about your level 1?
Well, for my level 1, basically just try to change from this Goloharo to the bigger one using the climax. And for mine, I also have another changer girl. So having her plus her climax to be able to swap into, where is she? Oop, here we go. Yeah, this one. from this level 0 becoming this level 1 in the early game too is very useful with the use of this Climax. And yeah, with her she can become like a 6k, so she's a decent level 1 to have.
Yeah.
With a very useful encore to bring her back every time if she get reversed. Yeah, so it's a lot easier. And also my favorite is to have the Brainstorm guy at level 1. So if like, I'm running low in my deck and most of my Climax are inside my, waiting room, it's best to, mold my deck so I just only take 1 damage instead of taking a lot of damage in the future to have high chance to get all my Climax back into my deck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I recommend at least have at least 2 or 3 brainstormers in your deck. Whichever level you want to have them at. I would say include them in there so that you could have a way to refresh your deck when you run out of Climax. So you don't have to just take damage, right? I like what you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So if you notice that Mike's deck, his combo is really at level 1.
Yeah.
So you can see that there's a lot of level 1 cards which going to help him set up the game. Now if you can see from my deck, my deck focuses on level 2. My level 1, is designed to implement the game at level 2. Yeah, but Mike's deck implement the game at level 1. He'll run some combo. He'll do some search. So at level 0, he would already be setting up for his level 1 play. And especially level 1, you don't stay very long because if you clock twice, you only have 5 damage to take.
True.
And all your opponent, if you go in second, you probably could already take 2 or 3 damage already, right? So there's 2 damage left to take, and that could be done with one of your opponent at time. So level 0, you don't stay there very long.
No, not really.
Maybe like your first turn, Mike would already use some level 0 to go ahead and set up for the level 1 play.
Yep.
And the level 1, I would assume that it's already in Mike's hand. Yep. Beginning of like his opening hand, he should already have some of these level 1s ready to go. Because I think maybe turn 2 or turn 3 you might already be level 1.
Yeah.
And having these guys come out and set up the right combo will be very hard to stop.
Yeah, because even though like I'm still level 1 to bring out this level 2 guy, even though he goes to level 2, I should still have a fair play because this one's quite big at level 2.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. All right. So usually level 1, I have about maybe 12 to 14 cards.
Yes, about same for me.
For level 1, less than your level 0, just because there's going to be obviously in a game you're going to use less of level 1s
surely
than 0, and then respectively 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about level 2 and level 3. So level 2 and level 3 is probably your most powerful cards
for sure
in your deck. And I include about 12 cards in combination of level 2 and level 3 together.
Okay.
You should run about maybe 12 to 14. 14 is pretty heavy.
Yeah.
But it depends on how you design your deck. To me, I like it at 12. 12 is really good. Like it doesn't clog up my hand as much.
Oh, okay.
At 12.
I think I have a little bit more than
what you said. Yeah, that's fine.
I have a bit more than what you said.
So at level 2, really, you can include some of the more powerful backup cards if you want. Those cards are probably designed to help save some of your bigger characters.
Yeah.
Because at level 2, if your opponent's level 2 and you're level 2, chances are you're going to be playing creature at about this power, about 10k or maybe a little less. And with Climax buff, it can go up into 11 to 12k range. And then of course your level 3 comes in, and your level 3 can be in the Disgaea, there's a guy that has 20k, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So at level 3, you can get up in that crazy number.
Yep.
Yeah. So other than backup, what do I look for in level 2, level 3? This is probably your kill condition. How so? I would visualize how would you want to defeat your opponent. What kind of things you want to do. Are you going to use your level 2 and level 3 to control your opponent so that you could ultimately deal soul damage to him? There's an assist character at level 2.
Yeah, like some decent ones that buff like level and also damage as well.
Yeah, and good thing you mentioned that, Mike, because if you look at some of the assist character, they comes in all shape, size, and form.
A lot of it, yeah.
But bear in mind that at the very least they boost your attack power. Okay.
Yeah.
Some of them do boost your level.
Yeah.
And some of them allow you to draw cards, to search. So those assist character will be useful too if you need more search power, more draw, or whatnot. Now, the assist character which boosts your level, sometimes you don't see the importance of that, but having a plus level is really good.
Yeah, true.
It prevents your opponent from
using reversers, for example.
Yeah, using reverser, for example, and also side attacking.
Another one.
Because side attacking, one of the strategy of side attacking that you can implement is that if you see yourself at a disadvantage, if your opponent have a really big creature, and at that given time you don't have a way to deal with it, you can still put down your level 0 and try to side attack.
Yep.
At the very least, you gain sparks from doing it. Okay.
And also have a defender so you don't take direct damage.
Yeah. So you also avoid direct soul damage if your opponent doesn't direct damage you, and if your opponent a creature at that level 0, your soul damage is going to go through.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. But having plus level, for instance, now that level now would be part of the calculation to reduce your opponent's side attack soul value. So that's really a good strategy for, I would say, a beater, like a beater level 0 or a beater level 1. They boost their character to level 2, and then your opponent have a tough time side attacking. It wouldn't do much. All right, so that's the deck building portion. Let's go through some of the situation during the play.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and shuffle our decks.
True.